Okay, dear students, please be alert. We have to come to class on the time. Still, some students not yet joined, so that the class is delaying. Janamil sir, Hello.
Pradeep sir,
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Time போகுது.
sir start பண்றீங்களா?
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடுங்க சார்.
நீங்க ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுங்க.
ஓகே சார். ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணிடுறாங்களா?
ஆ
நான் மேலே
ஓகே சார்.
ஓகே சார். ஓகே. Shall I start, sir?
ரெக்கார்ட் ஆப்ஷன் ஆன்ல இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
ஓகே.
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுங்க சார்.
Okay. Dear students, here in the afternoon section, that is the fifth section of the for HCI. Here in the last class, we discussed that is the memory. Previously, we discussed that is the memory, that is the human memory based on the sensory movement. We had deeply discussed. That is the reasoning problem solving. That is the device based on that is the input device and output device. We had discussed. Later on, we are going for the memory. Here in the memory, we refer in the computer. Usually, you are already studied deeply in the computer architecture also. In addition to that, some valuable content points are to be included in the HCI. Here the memory, there are two types. One is the short-term memory, next one is the long-term memory. Everybody, that is actually you studied in the architecture three levels. The cache, primary memory, and then that is the long-term memory. Here in the cache, it is very placed near to the CPU. Next level is that is the primary. Most frequently used data, important data, we can put up in the cache. If the data is to be large and the volume is to be large, that set of data we put in the RAM. That is a random access memory. That is the primary memory. Here that is here that the human being, we think that is a memory. There are certain levels. Usually, faster access typically having less capacity, especially cache and the primary memory RAM. Here the capacity content is less. So here the accessing the data is what is easily and quickly compared to the main memory, that is the disk. Here in the memory, especially the RAM, we can design the silicon chip random access memory. You are already studying, you are accessing a data. So many types are there: 16-bit register, 32-bit register, 64-bit register. Depending upon the usage of data, depending upon the complexity of data, we can use that particular type of register on the data. Here the different forms of RAMs are there. Depending here that the form has to be differ based on the accessing time, power consumption, and characteristic we discussed. Here the accessing the data is too fast in the RAM. It is in the order of 10 nanosecond. Here the storage capacity of RAM is in between, that is 64 to 156 megabytes only. That is a RAM. Here usually you know that is a RAM is what volatile memory. It should be erased. Whenever the power has gone, the content has to be lost. But nowadays, during the execution, some important data, some needed information put up in the RAM. So even though if the power has gone, we need to access the data immediately. So that we go, in addition to that, flash memory is added in the RAM. That is here it is also it should be reside in the memory even when the power has gone for a little time. That is, we can say it as the flash memory. Next one is the long-term memory. The long-term memory, especially that is the hard disk. You are immediately saying that it should be about large volume. So due to the large volume, we can store numerous number of data, large volumes of data. So especially due to the larger size, due to the complexity, we can accessing the data in the disk. It take longer time compared to the two levels memory. So that is accessing the data in the disk is longer. You're already familiar about it. Especially here in the olden days, that is a floppy disk is used. Nowadays not left. There is a 300 KB. Here now that the hard disk it is in the order of 1.4 megabytes. 1.4 megabytes. Okay, here that is a 40 MB megabytes we can use. Usually two type of disk we can be used. Here that is a magnetic disk. Next one is the optical disk. Magnetic disk. Here the magnetic disk, that is why we go for the magnetic disk. That is for the production, for the security. We go for the magnetic disk. Next one, the optical disk. Optical, already I say in the previous class, optical, that is what reading only. Optical glass, you are familiar. That is what assessing the data, it should be well formatted. It doesn't bother, it doesn't destroy the original content, even though the file is to be of highly packed graphic structure. Here, the optical disc use that is a laser light to read. That is not usually the CD we can use read only memory. Only the content is to be loaded. It should not be modified. Usually the CD range you are already familiar, 650 megabyte to 700 megabytes. Later on we discuss the compression. Even though the file I can store in the disk, here it is not we can typically entire structure stored in the disk. It should be compressed to some other format. That format is should be properly formatted and properly secured. Then only it's stored in the disk. You already know. Especially that is the two things you know down. One is the bit. One is the that is the text can be reduced in the order of 5. One thing. Next bitmap, it can be compressed to 1% of the original size. Nowadays the technology compression oriented project, lot of projects going on, especially because here the mobile whatever, within the smaller device we can store numerous number of data. At the same time we can access the data then and there. So the compression technique is what is going on. Yeah, that is here. Next one is storage format. Here also we have to compress the data is stored in the disk. Even if you retrieve that compressed data, we can see the original structure as it is. It doesn't bother about it. So that means here the proper storage, proper accommodation of data in the memory is to be well secured. So that we needed the proper storage format ought to be maintained there. Here also here that is a standard ISO standard. I told the previous class. Here, meanwhile, I said that is a method of assessing. Assessing a data is well and good. So all the data ought to be in the all the many types of data ought to be arranged in a well format manner, especially that is a telephone directory manner. So that then only here I don't know about the type of I forget about the file name. Just simply type the title. I can access the data from the memory. So that means here the proper maintenance, arrangements of data in the memory is well and good. Then only I can access the data. Here the telephone data method arrangements are maintaining. Next, the menu-based system. That is the thing. Even though it doesn't bother about the document type. The document type and long passage of data. Likewise, we have maintain the structure. That is we are discussed. Now here in this class, we are going to discuss that is the processing and network. Processing and networks. So what are the factors? Here the factor is here in the university exam. Here in the scene, this question they will frequently ask. Explain the factor distributing the processing of network. You have to elaborate write the 3 major points. First one is the effects of finite process speed. Second one is the limitation on interactive performance. Third one is the network computing. Here this factor. Here what is the processing? I want to access the data. I want to run the data in a proper and well secure manner. So here the proper speed has to be maintained. The speed doesn't go low. Meanwhile, the speed doesn't go high. Here the maintenance is well. That is the effort of infinite process speed. What is the limitation of interactive performance? Here the limitation of interactive performance. Here also I can say what best exam here. Now I am taking class. I am taking class. I share my document to you. Everybody what listening and interacting with. So meanwhile, here the network capacity. Here the next one is the network. We have to think that is 2 things. One is the network capacity. Next one is the desktop capacity, host. So every year the network capacity we have to maintain well that compared to the desktop, because I sharing the resource, it should be reachable to all. Here the server taker of responsibility. You are deeply studying the networks. So that is the thing. Next one is the network computing. Now I'm going to tell the effects of finite processor speed. Effects of finite process speed. Here the toe fault. Here I told no. Here the process doesn't go slow. The process doesn't go fast. That is we have to maintain the speed in a clear and correct way. That is a two sort of fault. That is thing. Here totally now we am going to tell that the three faults occur. That is the functional fault. Here the implementation stage of first fault I can say the implementation stage of the system rather than of the design. Yeah, the programmer must be concentrated. That is the information flow should be proper in a correct speed way. That is the thing we have to maintain as the implementation stage of system. Here, due to the second thing, due to the slow processing. So the program doesn't have the right things, but the feedback is to be low. So lead to the strange efforts on the interference. Due to the slow processing taking place, the response not to be properly held. That is the second fault. So in order to avoid this fault, so I have to maintain why the fault occur. At a single time, we can receive numerous number of inputs. So all the input we can be stored in the buffer. So here that we based on the first come first serve, you are studying the operating system. We likewise we can assess. So you remember the key press and mouse button and movement. Okay, that is the thing. That is we can say that one example as the cursor tracking. So we have to avoid. Third fault. Suppose when the process is going on, I don't know the process is going. So at a single time, I can give multiple input. I can give multiple click. So at last, the system goes to the hanging state because they are having the so much commands they're receiving. So that is the thing. So that's why we can say the icon bar. Here the icon bar that is occur on the Windows system. So the user click multiple times. So suddenly that sudden blurring occurs. That is due to the interpretation of multiple mouse click. So that is a blurring flashing occur in the Windows. You already see. So why is the problem occur? Because we only type the multiple commands. We only click the multiple times. So in order to avoid this, here we need at least the process give that one text message. Wait for 20 seconds. Wait for some seconds. So based on the command, then we have to alert. So we are ready to wait. So that is the problem to avoid the third fault. That is the icon bar. That usually occur in the Windows system. You are also face this type of problem so many times. So totally three types of faults on the process time. One is the icon bar, or next one is the implementation stage. That is second one is the slow processing. So that is the thing. That is the thing we are seeing. Next one is the limitation on interactive performance. We are deeply discussed that the four types. One is a computation bond, storage channel bond, graphics bond, network capacity. We have to see one by one in elaborated manner. See, dear students, what I deliver. Here I can give some valuable points, valuable keyword, important keyword. I mark in either in the blue or yellow. Please note down that points. It is very helpful to you. It is remembered also. It is easy to remember also. So the limitation on interactive performance. First one is the computation bond. Here in the computation bond, we have to see that is what is the job processing indication, changing the cursor, like that we have to discuss the computation bond. Here the system should be designed so that the longer delay are not in the middle of the interaction. So here the job is processing. We have to analyze how the job is processed. Here the user gets some idea, need information. Here how the job is processing. For example, if you go and click some application, definitely it will take 20 to 30 seconds. We have to wait because we have to load the entire application. After that, we are going to activate. So due to the memory concern, due to the speed concern, we have to understand the processing going on. That is the job. So user should have know the interaction of this thing. Next one is the process indication. Process indication. What is the process indication of here? I already told you, here the process is going on. I need some information. Wait for 20 seconds. Wait for 30 seconds. So if I'm not receiving any information, unnecessary I do some work, unnecessary I can give multiple times. Here what? So it gives to the what? Blurring or collapse stage. So I need some indication. We have to wait for some seconds. Wait for 20 seconds. The process is here. I can at least the process be see. At least we have to gain some information. It is okay. That is the process indication. Next one, the change in the cursor. What is the change in the cursor? For example, once the application I log in, here the cursor has to be changed to some other font. Then only here the user can recognize the process has started. So they have to alert. So this can be achieved by having a counter or slowly filling the bar on the screen. So some amount of done. The change in the cursor is that is thing. So totally 3 factors. We have noted down the computation bound in the interactive performance. On the job processing, process indication, change in the cursor. Dear students, still I told here in the interactive performance, 4 factors favoring. Here under the computation bound, here the 3 important points: job processing, process indication, change in the cursor. If you remember 3 points, automatically we can write in your own. That is the thing. That is I can give the hierarchy of the beautiful structure in the PPT. Okay. Next one, the storage bound. Here the storage we have to note down what is it mean by we note down the memory also. Memory and then computation power also. The speed of the memory can interface with the interactive performance. So the computation based on the computation power, that is the system is held up solely by memory. So here the assessing the memory is to be well and good. So here I need a proper storage bond. I can I can maintain the speed also well. Then only I can access the data in a well secured manner. That is a storage channel bond. So it is, so here also that is the year on next one is the graphics bond, third type. So in the graphics bond, what is the graphics bond? Here the application is highly packed due to the what? Due to the heavily designed graphics. That is the thing. So here that is in the modern interface. The most especially in the you're already studied in the OS also. Bottleneck problem occur. What is the bottleneck problem? Anybody knows? In the end, the operating system studied no. Underestimate the time taken to perform what appear to be interface operation. Here, the interface operation has to be doing the interface taken place between our PC and the particular application in the network. Here, what? Here the application ought to be loaded in my PC. I don't know about how much time the application is loaded in my PC. So I underestimate. So that is the time taken. After 10 seconds, I wrongly conclude my application in my PC application or not loaded properly. That is the thing. So that is the thing. So that is a misunderstanding. To underestimate the time taken, what appear. Next one is that here also I want to the same application I want to load in the PC in a quick way. So here also some algorithm, some technique ought to be referred. That algorithm programming I can refer as a clever coding. It can reduce the even though the application is to be of complex and graphical type. Here the time also is to be reduced due to the clever, that is a good algorithm. That is nowadays very important, because I already told you in the class also, if you use the technique or program or the algorithm, it should be in the optimal way. Optimal, that means what? We have to use a less resource. then only our algorithm, our techniques is well and good. That is then only then only it is also helpful to run the program in the PC with the same hardware configuration. Within the same hardware configuration, I want to run the complex application well. I have to use the clever coding, beautiful algorithm. Likewise, we have to design the algorithm. Okay. Now, here also what is so instead of clever coding, we can use what graphical code also can be used. That graphical code is helpful to handle the complex graphical operations. So some more graphic code should be designed to order. So that is the graphics one. Next one, last one, the network capacity. In the beginning of the today class, I also told you. What I told. We can use your system. All of you, all the 150 students are listening in my class. In your play, or at the same time, you are using your PC only. But what? Only things what? Sharing the document to all the 150 members at a single time. Here the network capacity I have to maintain. I doesn't bother about the 150 or 200 or 100. Here the what? Here the proper networking I have to maintain. Accessing the file, the speed of the network also I have to note down. That is a take into account. So that is thing. That the speed of the network rather than the memory. Okay. So I have to make, so that should be shared. Everybody accessing my file at a single time. That is the thing. That is the network capacity. So here in the interactive performance, what I taught here, listen. What is the limitation? Here the first the limitation of interactive performance. One is the computation bond. Second one is storage channel bond. Third one is the graphics bond. Fourth one is the network capacity. Here the computation bond. Computation bond means what? We have to say immediately we have noted down what is the process by the delay occur. Here the storage bond we have referred as the speed, the security. Graphics bond, the highly packaged graphics, the graphical code are used, clever algorithm can use. Network capacity, here the file sharing, everything we have to remember at a single time. Then we can write whatever their beautiful concept. Here the four major points, don't forget at any time. This is very, very important to you. In between the sub points also, or I can give in the color presentation day. Okay. Next one is the third major concern, that the network computing in the interactive performance. Here the computer not in the here the standalone mode of operation, but linked to other network. So that means here network here also the sharing the resource, not only file sharing, not only document sharing. I can share my software tool also. I can put up in the cloud. We can be able to access. We are deeply studying the cloud computing. That is different. Okay, then sir, here that is that just brings that is a standalone that maintenance of networking well and good. So that is bringing that the proper communication between the several different parties, that is for different uses. So connected in the same network. So allowing desktop to access the resource remote from itself. So I can share the document. Allowing the resource means what? Sharing the document. Networks are inherently much more powerful than the individual computer. That is the strongest point I told. The networks, the weightage of networks also more. That is, you are doing in your PC that you are having only limited capacity. I'm also in my PC. I'm having limited capacity. In between the server should have the major concern. Then only proper network flow ought to be maintained. So that is the thing. So then only increase the computing power, and memory are not only the part of story. We are maintaining the memory. Efforts of allowing people much more extensive, faster and easier access to information. So it doesn't bother about the number of people. Even though suppose here I'm going to run one project or run any one program, that program doesn't bother about the number of people. You can access the resource. So n number of people you can use. So that is significant goal of individual, group and institutions. That is the network computing. Safety should be done in the interactive performance. Next one is the interaction. Here in the interaction, what is the interaction? What is interaction? I am teaching to you. I am teaching XA, human computer interaction. We are discussing so many topics. Initially from the human memory, device, input-output device. Later on we go for the reasoning, problem solving. Next one is the memory in computer. Next one is the networks processing. Later on we come to the 8th chapter, interaction. The interaction taken place between the user and the system. That's about the interaction generally. That is human computer interaction. Interaction taken place between the user and the system. So the meanwhile the interface must effectively translate between them to allow the interaction to be. So here the interface. I want to make the section in a clear and interactive way. So I have to maintain the proper PPT presentation. The PPT presentation refers to what? That's the proper slide. That's the valuable points. That's allowed with the graphical manner. Then only we can able to interact. So that's the thing. The interface, the proper interface has to be done. Proper sharing mechanisms to be done. The translation can fail at a number of points. Why the translation is fail? So here the user so why the translation is fail? User doesn't know the interaction. That's only the translation is fail. So the interaction can help us exactly what is going on in interaction. So user must identify what is going on. That is on the interaction. What is going on the interaction must know. Then only we have to avoid the translation. So what are difficulty we are going to see? One is the normal execution evolution cycle. Second point is the execution evolution cycle. Third one is the interaction framework. So especially in the university exam they ask, explain the difficulty that are faced in the interaction. So we have to explain the 3 concern points in an elaborate and clear way. Normal, execution and evolution cycle. Second one is the execution evolution cycle. Third one is the interaction framework. Here in this class, just I tell that the normal execution evolution cycle. Here the normal execution evolution cycle. Especially I can define the 3 terms. One is the domain, task, and goal. Domain, task, and goal. What is the purpose of I'm going to give that interaction? That means what? Here the interactive system is aid a user to accomplish a goal for some application domain. Here the interaction. I want to view my ideas. That idea is to be reached to all the 150 members. That is my interaction. So that is my goal. So here what is in my delivery of lecture? What is the domain? I can give the good PPT. That is the domain. What is the task? So I want to give the good PPT. So what are the operations I refer? What are the methodologies I refer? What are the books? What are the material I refer? That is the task. What is the goal? I want to satisfy I want to clarify all the points to reach everybody. That is the goal. So that is domain, task, and goal. So domain that defines the area of expertise and knowledge. So that define the area of expertise and knowledge in some real world activity. Here the task and what? You manipulate the concept of domain. The task or the operation that is to manipulate the concept of domain. So what is our goal? The desire from the performance task. That is the goal. So mainly 3 points to remember. One is the domain. Next one is the task. Next one is the goal. So 3 terms are involved in the interaction. So domain, task, and goal. Here also the terms of interaction. Task. Here the intention is specified to meet the goal. Here the task. What is the task? The identification of problem space for the user of the interactive system. The task analysis involves the identification of the problem space for the user of the interactive system. Here I'm taking place. What is the identification? You have to understand the concept and scenario of the XA, human computer interaction. That is the identification of my, that is the identification problem. Should be in the, so it should be, so I have to interact in the main terms of domain, goals and intention. Okay. Now, here the concept used in the design and the description of the user are separate. So then we can refer them distinct components called system and user. Here, for design of system, in my scene, what do you think? The description of the user are separate, and we can refer to them distinct components called the system. So here the description of the user. Here so many users, so many students are participating in my class. Here I can use that is the PPT or sharing my document through network. That is the system. So that the terms of interaction involved in the intention specify way. So here the interaction I can specify the two languages are referred. One is the core language, next one is the task language. What is the core language? It describes the computational attribute of the domain relevant to the system state. Describe the computational attribute of the domain relevant to the system state. That is the core language. Here the task language describes the psychological attribute of the domain relevant to the user state. Here the psychological attribute. Here the psychological attribute, that is your view, student view. We have to remember the concept. That is the thing. That is task language. Core language. That is I can use that graphical manner, PPT. That is the thing. Design manner, diagrammatic manner. That is the thing. That is the thing. So here the models of interaction, especially that next one is the usually normal execution evolution model. This is a normal execution evolution model. Two types are there. One here in the previous, I told you now. So you ask, so one is the normal execution evolution cycle. Again, the second two, you say that the execution evolution cycle. This is the second point, normal execution evolution cycle. Okay. Now we have to discuss that the normal execution evolution cycle. So here also that is understanding the interaction. What is the normal specifies the interaction. You have to understand the interaction. The user want to understand the interaction. That is the normal execution cycle. So when the part of the plan has been executed, the user observes the computer interface to evaluate and result of the execution plan. So user have to understand the execution plan and then to determine to make further action. So especially what's the major thing? One is the execution, next one is the evolution. One is the execution, next one is the evolution. So we have to remember what is the execution. Execution, that means we have to execute. I can give the input to the system. I can get the output. That is the execution. The evolution, that output satisfy all the criteria for the user requirement or not. That is the evolution. The difference between the execution and the evolution. Execution. Here, what is execution? I can give the input to the system. Here the output has generated. That is the execution. But evolution, whether the output it satisfy all the criteria and condition for the user needs or the problem statement. That is the evolution. So you're already faced this type of thing in the day by day programming task. So here now, especially the 7 points we have discussed: establishing the goal, forming the intention, specifying the action sequence, executing the action, perceiving the system state, interpreting the system state, evaluating the system state with respect to the goal and intention. So here that is the 7 stages of normal interaction. Especially here in the university exam, explain the 7-step normal model in execution evolution cycle. 2 times they asked in the previous thing. Actually, here in the human-computer interaction, your senior studied in the 2013 regulation, that is for the 8th semester. The entire syllabus ought to be given in the 2017 regulation. But the semester only changed. They studied only in the 8th semester, but you are studying the 7th semester. This question frequently asked. Now, okay, now the time is short. At last, I'm going to give the summary. I'm going to give the types of question you have to be answered. So then only what I taught in my class we are able to answer. Even the previously we discussed that the test